Breaking news from the stadium tonight as an anonymous fan foot the bill for 55,000 hot dogs, bringing that sweet tubed meat to everyone in attendance.
Free dogs! Yeah!
55,000 hot dogs? What does that even cost?
While the identity of this Frankfurter philanthropist remains anonymous, their all-beefy generosity will go down in history.
The new Mega Millions. More to win means more to give. How you spend it is up to you.
Yeah!
For game odds and details, visit sceducationlottery.com.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
A Criminal Sunday with episodes of the CBS Radio Workshop, Crime and Peter Chambers, Counterspy, Tales of the Texas Rangers, and The Couple Next Door. That's all straight ahead on this Sunday, 22nd day of June, 173rd day of the year, 192 days left. Napoleon invaded Russia on this date in 1812. Maybe if the Ukraine dug Napoleon up. Never mind. The U.S. Justice Department created on this date in 1870. Dr. Andrew Still became the first to practice osteopathy on this date in 1874. The U.S. Marines landed in Cuba on this date in 1898 in the Spanish-American War. And in 1938, Joe Louis became a national hero by defeating German boxer Max Schmeling.
Right to the body, a left hook to the jaw, and Schmeling is down. The count is 5, 6, 7, 8. The men are in the ring. The fight is over on a technical knockout. Max Schmeling is beaten in 1 round.
Iconic radio announcer Clem McCarthy with the call. Schmeling had defeated Lewis in 1936, and that led to demonstrations of Aryan superiority in Germany. President Roosevelt signed the GI Bill of Rights on this date in 1944, and it was on this date in 1969 Judy Garland died.
You can imagine being anything else but an actress. What do you think you might have wanted to be?
Happily married, and just a nice lady.
Do you think it's possible to be an actress and be happily married?
Well, I don't think anybody who married me thought so, but I think it's possible. I don't see any reason, but I think it's probably a little difficult. It seems that every man I've ever met, they sort of, they know that I'm Judy Garland when they start to go with me, and then the minute they sort of get entangled with me, they say, you know how difficult it is to be. Well, why didn't they think of that before they, took me out the first time? I don't know. I don't think I'm that difficult to you. It doesn't seem, that hasn't been too rough on.
A March 6, 1967 interview with Judy Garland by Barbara Walters, 2 years before Garland died on this date in 1967. 69, I should say. Also on this date in 1969, the Cuyahoga River caught fire. That triggered a crackdown on pollution in that river. On this date in 1973, President Nixon, Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev, agreed to negotiate a treaty limiting nuclear weapons. At a dinner celebrating the agreement, the President made a toast.
We drink to your health, having in mind what you have said and what I have tried to reaffirm. The desire of the two strongest nations in the world, through their top leaders, to work together for peace rather than for continued confrontation, which could lead to destruction.
During their meetings, the public demeanor of both the President and Brezhnev lighthearted and sometimes almost playful. In New York City on this date in 1981, Mark David Chapman pled guilty to killing John Lennon outside Lennon's apartment building 6 months earlier.
He did indicate that he had prayed. He came to the belief or the conclusion that it was God's will that he accept responsibility for his actions.
Alan Sullivan, the prosecutor of that case. In 1987, we lost another fine actor, dancer, singer, Fred Astaire, passing away. And it was on this date in 1990, Checkpoint Charlie dismantled in Berlin, bringing down the last remnants of the Cold War. In 2009, a Washington, D.C. metro train traveling southbound near Fort Totten Station collided with another train waiting to enter the station. 9 people killed in the collision, 8 passengers and the train operator. At least 80 others were injured. Others passing away on this date include First Lady Pat Nixon, the 44th First Lady of the U.S., who was born in 1912 right here where I'm sitting in Ely, Nevada. Not in this chair, not in this building, but in this town. Also, a screenwriter, David O. Selznick, Dennis Day, passing away on this date in 1988, and comedian, actor, author George Carlin, and the mother of Mary Hartman, Dodie Goodman. Birthdays on this date include bank robber John Dillinger, director Billy Wilder, voice actor Paul Frees, that wonderful voice, Paul Frees, wonderful voice. Chris Christopherson, journalist Ed Bradley, David Lander, Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley. You may not know, he was a baseball scout as well. He was. Also, Pistol Pete Maravich, pro wrestler Earthquake John Tenta passing away on this date, and Chico and the Man, Freddie Prinze.
The day has finally come when a man of your age has a kid of my age for advice. I tell you what to do. You go over to Doris and you say, Doris, there's something I must tell you. And she'll say, yes, Ed, what is it? And you'll reply, my dear, we are merely 2 ships passing in the night. And she'll say, well, Ed, dear, could we dock someplace for a while? And then you say, that can never be, for you belong to another. And then she'll start crying. And ask you for a handkerchief. Come on, give me a handkerchief. And she'll dry her eyes and ask you if she can keep the handkerchief as a remembrance of you. But you'll have to say, no, it's the only one I've got.
That'll keep the handkerchief.
No, you never give your handkerchief to a married woman. That's why Othello choked Desdemona over a handkerchief.
Really? Is that how she died? I always thought she fell off a Ferris wheel.
From Chico and the Man with the wonderful Jack Albertson, Freddie Prinze, born on this date in history. We lost him way too early.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
TV anchor Britt Hume, 82 years old today. Emir Deodato, the artist, producer, arranger, 83 years old today. Todd Rundgren, 77 years old today. Meryl Streep is 76.
We responded, as we have responded in times past, with unity, strength, and courage.
From the movie The Iron Lady, Meryl Streep, 76. The original Bionic Woman, Lindsay Wagner, 76 today. Also, Alan Osmond is 76. Cyndi Lauper, Time After Time, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, 72 years old today. The author of The Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown, is 61.
You and I, Robert, we have observed history.
From the movie adaptation of the book The Da Vinci Code, that was Ian McKellen playing Sir Lee Keeling. And the Da Vinci Code author Dan Brown, 61 years old today. TV personality Carson Daly is 51, and from Scrubs, Donald Faison is 51. And is he going to come back for the reboot they're doing? We hope so. Those are a few of the people celebrating the 22nd day of June as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
And we're going to get started here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of the CBS Radio Workshop and another point of view, or Hamlet Revisited. The CBS Radio Workshop from 69 years ago gets us started next.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit ActiveDay.com to apply.
Civil defense is common sense. Hi, this is Tony Bennett. Make sure you're prepared if a nuclear attack ever comes.
Now let's get started here on Classic Radio Theater with an episode of the CBS Radio Workshop, another point of view, or Hamlet Revisited, as it was broadcast 69 years ago today, June 22nd, 1956.
You've often heard that old saying, things are not always what they seem. Well, let us be brutally frank with you tonight and say that it is our happy duty to demolish completely that ridiculous little phrase with this objective reappraisal. Things are always and only what they seem. It depends entirely on the point of view. It is upon this premise, then, that tonight we would like you to take a closer look at Hamlet, Prince of Denmark.
From Hollywood, CBS Radio presents the CBS Radio Workshop, dedicated to man's imagination, the theater of the mind. Tonight, transcribed for your amusement or fury, according to your temperament or philosophy, another point of view, or Hamlet Revisited, being an analytical misrepresentation of Shakespeare's greatest hero figure, compiled especially for the workshop by Ben Wright and William Conrad. And now, once again, here is Mr. Conrad.
Now, with regard to Hamlet, it seems a little more than strange to us, and historical debate gives us grounds, that if Hamlet were such a hero in Denmark, he would automatically have been elected king upon the death of his father. And yet, he was not. We wonder why. Again, it seems highly probable that Claudius did not kill Hamlet's father purely from jealousy or desire to usurp the throne, but simply because he was a patriot with the highest moral motives who realized that the danger to Denmark made the removal of a useless king a national necessity. And again, historical debate gives us most valid grounds for this supposition. And finally, it occurs to us that there was really nothing rotten in the state of Denmark, but Hamlet made it so. You will, of course, demand proof, and proof you shall have. Firstly, however, we must confess that though we use only the words of the Bard of Avon in our drama, we've had to make deep and prolonged cuts for the sake of timing, for the play, uncut, as of course you're all well aware, runs some 4.5 hours. Well, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we present, for your consideration, another point of view, or Hamlet Revisited. Our scene, Denmark, Elsinore Castle. The new king, Claudius, has been enthroned, and having offered himself in marriage to his brother's widow, Gertrude, has been accepted by her most gratefully, for she has well realized that marriage to Claudius will mean not only happiness and security for herself, but will provide a strong and guiding hand for her moody and difficult son, young Hamlet. And here in our first scene, Claudius is trying most sincerely to make friends with his stepson.
Now, my cousin Hamlet and my son.
A little more than kin and less than kind.
How is it that the clouds still hang on you?
Not so, my lord. I'm too much of the sun.
Now, Claudius, rather taken aback by this unpleasant bit of double talk, but determined to make a go of things, looks pleadingly to his queen for a little help in the awkward conversation. Gertrude, ever helpful, tries this piece of sensible advice on Hamlet.
Good Hamlet, cast thy knighted colour off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever with veiled lids seek for thy father in the dust. Thou know'st 'tis common. All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity.
Aye, madam, 'tis common.
If it be, why seems it so particular with thee?
Seems, madam? Nay, it is.
Well, obviously the young man is annoyed at Mamma, too, but Claudius, dear soul that he is quite determined to be, in the true sense of the word, a dad to his stepson, and is now prepared to jackknife backwards to keep the peace, for let's not forget that this little altercation takes place in front of the entire court. So how is this for a beautiful piece of understanding and moderation?
'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these mourning duties to your father. But we pray you, throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne, and with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son, do I impart toward you. And we beseech you, bend you to remain here, in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier, cousin, and our son.
Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I pray thee, stay with us.
I shall in all my best obey you, madam.
And now, surely you've got to admit that that's just about as petulant a stamp of the foot as you could look for in a month of ballet rehearsals, and rather ugly behavior for a hero. Now, does Claudius swing one at Hamlet for this baldish effrontery? He does not. And why? Because he has obviously read all the books about bringing up children properly, and knows very well the dangers of submitting them to the traumatic shocks of anger. No, to dear old Claudius, a dad is very simply a dad, and he's duty-bound to see the youngster through the difficult years. And let's not forget for 1 second that our young Hamlet is only 31 or 32 at the most. Now, note this for a superb example of turning the other cheek. Hamlet has just sulkingly mouthed,
I shall in all my best obey you, madam.
To which Claudius says,
Why, 'tis a loving and a fair reply. Be as ourself in Denmark.
Now, quite honestly, have you ever heard anyone be so warm or charming? Yet this is Claudius speaking, the very man that we are asked, nay, forced to call villain. Now, to expand our premise, let's listen to a fragment of Hamlet's outlook on life. Of course, he comes down stage center for this, as he is wont to do with all his little pleasantries.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world.
Well, one could say that that's a fairly unhealthy attitude toward life. But let's try to be understanding. Let's try to be as understanding as Claudius. Now, perhaps Hamlet is sick with love. After all, the court chamberlain has a most attractive daughter, Miss Polonius, or Ophelia to her friends, and Hamlet has certainly been playing a bit of footy-footy with her, much to the distress of her father. For even Polonius seems to have a pretty good idea of Hamlet's moral worth. Consider now his advice to her.
For the Lord Hamlet, do not believe his vows, for they are brokers, not of that dye which their investments show, but mere implorators of unholy suits, breathing like sanctified and pious bawds, the better to beguile. This is for all. I would not, in plain terms, from this time forth, have you so slander any moment leisure as to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to it, I charge you.
Now, of course, Ophelia is not a particularly bright girl and not a very stable character either. In fact, pretty easily knocked off balance, as we find out all too soon. But back to Hamlet for a moment. It might be well at this time to point out that our young hero suffers from hallucinations. You will remember, of course, that he's convinced that he's had a long chat with the ghost of his deceased father. Also that Papa's spirit has begged him to avenge his death, etc., etc., etc. Now, of course, unfortunately, we cannot prove that Hamlet is a chronic alcoholic, but it is not beyond the realm of possibility that on the night in question he may have had, well, let us say, one too many. However, for the moment, Hamlet does nothing about revenge, merely contenting himself with a visit to his lady fair to do a little courting. The effect on Ophelia is not surprising. She comes belting into her father, not only bewildered,
my lord,
but terrified.
My lord!
Listen.
How now, Ophelia? What is the matter?
Oh, alas, my lord, I've been sore frightened.
With what, in the name of God?
My lord, as I was sewing in my chamber, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all embraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled and gartered and down jived to his ankle, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, he comes before me.
Mad for thy love?
Oh, my lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it.
What said he?
He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so.
Now a question, gentle listener. Has the boy next door ever behaved in that manner towards your daughter? I mean, when she was just sitting there on the front porch, tending to her knitting? Well, that's pretty frightening behavior, don't you think? And it would take a good deal of understanding. Ah, understanding. A quality in which, more than anything else, our Claudius abounds. The very first thing he does when he realizes that Hamlet not only is a problem, but has one, is to invite, regardless of expense to the management, 2 of Hamlet's old school friends to Elsinore for a long vacation, hoping that they may get Hamlet out of himself with a few brisk games of ping-pong or croquet or whatever. And how does Hamlet react to all this? The usual gambit. He is abominably rude to his friends, suspects them of treachery, an incipient paranoic if there ever was one, and finally, having dismissed them in a most cavalier fashion, cuts back sharply at what he feels about his stepfather. Poor old Claudius. Well, this time we're only going to give you a snippet of the speech because, well, it's really rather frightening.
Bloody, bawdy villain, remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain! Oh, vengeance!
Very unstable, this young prince. And rather a cad, too, as you must agree when you hear our next scene. Do you recall what our hero says to little Ophelia, the girl whom he has professed to love?
I did love you once.
Oh, indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
You should not have believed me. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners?
Oh, help him, you sweet heavens.
If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this plague for dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery. Or if thou wilt needs marry, marry a fool. For wise men know well what monsters you make of them.
Now, honestly, doesn't that rather shock you? Well, there's more yet. For instance, has it ever struck you how conceited Hamlet is? A veritable know-it-all. You remember in what terms he talks to the actors when they visit Elsinore for a one-night stand? No? Well, listen.
Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it, as many of your players do, I had as lief the town crier spoke my lines.
Now, isn't that a gracious little speech? One might suppose that a professional theater company might know how to read their lines. Therefore, it seems that our hero figure is not only a cad, appallingly ill-mannered, but conceited beyond belief. And now, we must add to these strange hero virtues his extraordinary propensity for intrigue. Yes, that's right, intrigue. You must realize that since the day the crown was ripped unceremoniously from his grimy little fingers, Hamlet has gone his petulant way, making life just as difficult as possible for his Uncle Claudius. But he finally really gets down to business and comes up with as unpleasant a piece of underhanded nonsense as you could wish for. What? This.
I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks. I'll tempt him to the quick. If he but blench, I'll know my course.
Item. Gift. From Hamlet to stepfather Claudius and Mummy. 2 on the aisle for this gloomy little one-actor. Charming, huh? But Claudius goes along with it, for he wants more than anything else to make Hamlet happy. And so the evening arrives, and the stage is set, the audience assembles, and the play begins. The drama proceeds, and as it draws toward the end, a quiet uneasiness falls over the audience. And now the death scene. It takes place in a garden. The player king lies down to take a nap. The onlookers have long since caught the parallel to their own king, and they wait expectantly, breathlessly, for the entrance of the serpent. But wait, there will be no serpent. In a moment, an entrance will be made by the king's brother. He will creep quietly to the king's side and pour a vial of poison into the king's ear. He's making his entrance now. Listen.
Light! Give me some light! Light, I say!
Poor old boy. It's no wonder he's upset. Who wants to be continually reminded of past unpleasantnesses of that sort? After all, it was a necessity of state, wasn't it? But Hamlet, well, our hero is feeling just dandy, thank you. Here he is now, after he has so successfully cleared the hall.
'Tis now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. Now could I drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on. Soft. Now to my mother.
Well, that's about as quaint a set of night thoughts as you could wish for. Yet it is in this same frame of mind that our young friend trots upstairs to kiss Mummy good night. But en route, he happens to pass the open door beyond which he sees his badly shaken stepfather at his prayers. We are now permitted to hear another side of Hamlet's nature, which, frankly, makes our hair curl, and only heightens our compassion for poor old Claudius. Softly now. Coming a bit closer.
What then?
Ah, that's it.
What rests?
Now.
Try what repentance can. What can it not? Oh, wretched state.
Now might I do it, Pat. Now he is praying, and now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven? No. Up, sword, and know thou a more horrid hint, when he is drunk, asleep, or in his rage, at gaming, swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in it, then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as hell whereto it goes.
Now, we feel that is pretty revealing. However, having delivered himself of these few kind words, our hero pops in to say goodnight to Mama. Well, now, we're very sorry, but we simply cannot bring ourselves to tell you what he says to Mummy in there, nor what he does in her bedroom. But you can take it from us that when he leaves, Mama is due for quite a heavy dose of phenobarbital in order to catch 40 winks that night. The following scene, however, will give you a pretty fair inkling as to what happened as Gertrude rushes madly into her husband's chamber.
Oh, my good Lord, what have I seen tonight?
What, Gertrude? What does Hamlet?
Mad as the sea and wind when both contend which is the mightier. In his lawless fit, behind the arras, hearing something stir, he whips his rapier out and cries, "A rat, a rat!" And in this brainish apprehension, kills the unseen good old man.
Oh, heavy deed. It had been so with us had we been there. This liberty is full of threats for all. To you yourself, to us, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered?
Well, there you are. Do you have a penknife handy? Good. Notch one killing for Claudius, done for the common good. Call him villain. Now notch one murder for Hamlet, done solely because Polonius happens to have been eavesdropping in the Queen's bedchamber. However, call Hamlet hero. So far, so good. One apiece, even Stephen. But meanwhile, back in the throne room, Claudius, realizing that things are getting a little out of hand with this fractious boy, has made a decision. He subtly leads up to it.
Now, Hamlet, where's Polonius?
At supper.
At supper? Where?
Not where he eats, but where he is eaten. A certain convocation of politic worms are e'en at him.
What dost thou mean by this? Where is Polonius?
In heaven. Send thither to see. If your messenger find him not there, seek him in the other place yourself. But indeed, if you find him not within this month, you shall nose him as you go up the stairs into the lobby.
Hamlet, this deed, for thine especial safety, which we do tender as we dearly grieve for that which thou hast done, must send thee hence with fiery quickness. Therefore prepare thyself. The mark is ready and the wind at help. The associates tend and everything is bent for England.
For England?
Aye, Hamlet.
Good.
Did you expect a touch of remorse from our hero, perhaps? Oh, no, not a bit of it. One word, that's all. Good. However, you haven't forgotten Ophelia, have you? Well, we should hope not. That's right, the rather dim but pretty young thing that Hamlet has cared for so gently. Ah, here she comes now. And sad to say, as nutty as a fruitcake. Well, with reason, though. After all, her lover has just made a pincushion of her poor old father. Well, there's nothing to be done about it, though.
But there's rosemary. That's for remembrance. Pray, love, remember. And there's pansies. That's for thoughts. And there's fennel for you and columbines. There's rue for you and here's some for me. We may call it our grace o' Sundays. And will he not come again? And will he not come again? No, no, he is dead. He never will come again.
And there she goes out of doors down to the nearest stream and then plunk right into the middle of it to do a little boating on her back with flowers for company. Fatal, of course. She drowns. However, box score for murder. Claudius, villain, 1. Hamlet, hero, 2. Unless you want to quibble about Ophelia's death being accidental. We don't. We say murder. Notch 2 for Hamlet. But at least Claudius has finally gotten Hamlet out of the country with his two chums, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And that certainly must have been a relief. But it didn't last long, though. No, back bounces happy Hamlet, having in the meantime contrived the death of both of his dear old school chums. And why? Oh, some delusion that they were going to have him killed in England. And in fact, he mentions as evidence a letter that he is supposed to have seen expressly ordering this, written by kindly old Claudius. Now, what can one think? After all, when a young man believes in ghosts and is quite convinced that he's had a long chat with one, a ghost, mark you, we feel that a pinch of salt is indicated. Now then, with our hero back home again and in fine fettle, here is the murder score for the second half. Claudius 1, Hamlet 4. And do you know what he does the first crack out of the box on his homecoming? He makes a circus out of his fiancée's funeral, and right in front of her brother Laertes, too, and the whole court. Well, here's Laertes now, quite understandably mourning his loss.
Oh, treble woe, full 10 times treble on that cursed head, whose wicked deed thy most ingenious sense deprived thee of. Hold off the earth a while, till I've caught her once more in my arms.
And then Hamlet, a little jealous of Laertes being downstage center and feeling that he should get in on the act, pops up with this.
What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis? This is I, Hamlet the Dane.
The devil take thy soul! Pluck them asunder!
Why, I will fight with him upon this theme until my eyelids will no longer wag.
Oh, my son, what theme?
I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not with all their quantity of love make up my sum. What wilt thou do for her?
Oh, he's mad, Laertes.
Would weep, would fight, would fast, would tear thyself? Dost thou come here to whine? To outface me with leaping in her grave? Be buried quick with her, and so will I. I'll rant as well as thou.
And he does, too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now rapidly approaching the end of our play, and it's well worth bearing in mind that it is not until the end of the play approaches that our friend Claudius causes us a slight twinge of uneasiness. Oh, yes, you're quite right. The duel scene and the poisoned swords. Now, let me ask you another question. At what point would your patience have run out? Put yourself in that place and in that time. Now, here is Claudius, the head of a state, threatened with invasion by the power-hungry young Fortinbras of Norway, and Claudius is trying desperately to put that state in order. And he might well have had a good chance had it not been for his stepson, Hamlet. He has done everything in his power to keep Hamlet on an even keel. He has, in fact, been kindness itself, while Hamlet, with great precision, is knocking off one by one his entire court, and finally has the bead drawn on Laertes. Now, we feel that Laertes cannot be blamed for hating the man who was directly responsible for the death of his dear sister, who also skewered his papa without so much as an "I beg your pardon." And in all fairness, we cannot blame Claudius for helping Laertes to his revenge. Now, unfortunately, being a little pressed for time, we have had to condense the last scene, the dueling scene. However, we feel that you are all familiar with the gory details, so we will just make the pertinent points. And they are as follows. Yes, there goes Gertrude. Poison, you know. And that, of course, will be the end of Laertes. Yes, poison on the end of the sword. And that was poor old Claudius. And here comes... Yes, that's right, Hamlet. Now, let us move in, ladies and gentlemen, and hear Hamlet's last speech, his dying speech. For here we make a point, and a big one, as you shall discover, for with his last breath, our hero proves himself beyond a doubt a traitor to Denmark.
Oh, I die, Horatio. The potent poison quite o'ercrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England. But I do prophesy the election lights on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice.
You have just heard Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, cast his vote for Fortinbras of Norway, relentless and savage enemy of Hamlet's own country. And that is our last point, ladies and gentlemen. To recapitulate, then. Qualities for our hero, Hamlet. He is vain, bad-mannered, suffers from paranoid delusions, is an intriguer, a cad, and a traitor. But for our villain, Claudius, he is patient, kindly, and understanding, abounds with moral courage, love, and selfless patriotism. Final score in the Scandinavian murder stakes, villain Claudius, 1. Hero Hamlet, by means both direct and indirect, 7. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. That is our case. And we rest it. One final note. Did you realize that the Danish name Ambleth, or Hamlet in its anglicized form, means the bungler? Good night.
CBS Radio has presented the CBS Radio Workshop. Tonight, Another Point of View, or Hamlet Revisited. This scandalous misrepresentation was transcribed and produced by Anthony Ellis and written by Ben Wright and William Conrad. The felony was compounded by Mr. Conrad's direction. Those aiding and abetting with portrayals were Ben Wright, John McIntyre, Jeanette Nolan, Sammy Hill, and Fred Mackay. Music was composed and conducted by Jerry Goldsmith. This is Hugh Douglas. Here's exciting news. You may enjoy reading Who's Who on CBS Radio Workshop in the current issue of TV Radio Mirror magazine. Many of the performers on Radio Workshop are pictured in rehearsal, and future shows are outlined. All of us associated with CBS Radio Workshop say thanks to TV Radio Mirror. Stay tuned for 5 minutes of CBS News, to be followed on most of these stations by My Son Jeep.
"69 years ago, June 22nd, 1956, the CBS Radio Workshop." Okay, it wasn't directly crime-related, but when you get Ben Wright and William Conrad in the middle of a production like that, you gotta have it on. You do. Let's get to real crime. Dane Clark, Crime and Peter Chambers. That's next.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Fred McMurray. Home shelters can be built for as little as $100. Simple plans for building inexpensive home shelters are available free from your civil defense office. Ask for a copy of the Family Fallout Shelter booklet.
And links for those brochures are in the comment sections of the program down in the show notes. Also at classicradio.stream. Dane Clark now, Crime and Peter Chambers, 71 years ago. June 22nd, 1954.
Crime and Peter Chambers. Created by Henry Kane, transcribed and starring Dane Clark. Private investigator, duly licensed and duly sworn, Peter Chambers.
You're a private eye. That's your business. Anything else? That's for laughs. It's mid-afternoon, and you're in a nightclub on business. There's nothing more ghastly than a nightclub in the daytime. Reminds you of the whitewash inside of an unfinished coffin. Anyway, this one's called the Café Tropical, and in the nighttime, when its tinsel isn't showing, it's considered quite swanky.
Mr. Chambers?
Yes?
I'm Bruce Eldritch. I'm delighted that you could come.
Bruce Eldritch, prospective client. He's one of the owners of the Café Tropical, about 35, well-dressed, and quite good-looking. And quite composed, except his eyes are nervous.
I take it that you know what happened here last night?
Well, your partner, Paul Maxwell, he caught up with a slight case of lead poisoning.
He was shot to death right here in the club.
So I've read in the newspapers.
Observe the architecture of our little nightclub here. Now, there's this narrow little room where the bar is.
Yeah?
And off there's the archway which leads into the club proper. That's where we have our entertainment.
And, this stairway right here?
Now, that leads upstairs where Mr. and Mrs. Maxwell have their apartment.
Oh, the guy that was killed?
Yes, he and his wife, Claire. This was, well, sort of their town apartment.
Very cozy.
Last night, our entertainment was in full blast. Paul Maxwell, was seated out here at the bar alone. He was shot and killed. He slumps over. Nobody's the wiser. Tobias, the bartender, thinks Paul has grabbed a little catnap. And it's definitely established by the police that he was shot from the main room, through the archway.
And what about the gun?
Well, sir, one of our patrons, the distinguished book critic, Mr. Charles Morse, felt something strange in his top.
Now, wait. Don't tell me that turned out to be the murder gun.
Yes, it did. In the rush of the crowd, the culprit probably slipped it into the first strange pocket he found, which turned out to be Mr. Morse's.
And what did this Charles Morse do?
Well, he turned it over to the management, which in this case was Mrs. Maxwell, Claire Maxwell.
The new widow, huh? Well, how many people in this management?
There were 3. Paul, myself, and Claire, equal partners. Claire also acted as hostess.
So, what happened then?
Well, Mr. Morse waited for the police, told them the story, and that was that. The police, of course, now have the gun.
Okay, Miss Eldridge, where do you fit me into this?
I have reason to believe that it was my gun.
What?
I owned a gun like that. I have a license for it. 2 days ago, it disappeared from my apartment. Now, Mr. Chambers, I want to retain you right now to find out who stole that gun and who murdered Paul Maxwell.
Well, don't you think the cops will attend to that?
That's just what I'm afraid of. They'll attend to it, and they'll come up with me. Guns can be traced, can't they?
I see what you mean.
There's a $500 fee in it for you, sir.
All right. Now, just where were you about the time Paul Maxwell was killed?
Inside, in the main room. I was seated at a table with Claire Maxwell, Charles Morse, and Ruth Benson.
Who's Ruth Benson?
She sings here in between shows.
What were you people doing at your table at the time?
We were watching the show. New act. Calvin Cole, a wizard on the Afro-Cuban drums, and a dancer, Menage.
All right, now, explain to me how a guy can get shot from the main room to this bar here without anybody hearing the shot or seeing the flash.
Well, Mr. Chambers, you see, there was a show.
Good afternoon, Mr. Eldridge. Well, hello, Mr. Chambers.
Oh, you know our bartender, sir. You know Tobias?
He knows a lot of bartenders. I used to serve him when I worked in PJ's.
Toby Tobias, lank and thin with a shock of hair falling over his forehead. And the wise, old, ageless eyes that seem to be the trademark of bartenders born to be bartenders.
Well, Toby, would you explain to Mr. Chambers how a shot can be fired and a man killed during our entertainment without anyone being the wiser?
It'll be my pleasure, Mr. Eldridge. You know who we got here, don't you, Mr. Chambers?
Yeah, Calvin Cole, they tell me, and his Afro-Cuban drums and Menage.
Yeah. Oh, now, here's how it works. The lights go out, you see, with a small spot on Calvin. Now, he wraps them drums like gunshots. Then this Menage comes out in a wild veil dance, and they work the lights like flashes of lightning around us. So, a shot from a real gun, it gets covered by Calvin Cole's drum beat gunshots and then flashes of lightning around this Menage.
Oh, I get it. Is Mrs. Claire Maxwell upstairs?
Yeah, she is.
Is it okay, Eldridge, if I go up and see her?
I don't see why not.
Well, thanks.
It's the door at the head of the stairs.
Yes? Who is it?
Mr. Eldridge said I could speak with you. May I come in?
You may.
She sits down, crosses her legs, and lights a cigarette. She's blonde, blue-eyed, on the sunny side of 40, and she's got her points. She's also got a pretty quick temper, it seems.
What is it, please?
My name is Peter Chambers. I'm a private investigator, and I've been requested to look into the events of last night, so,
You've been requested, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, listen, you private eyes in books, private eyes in radio, fine, a lot of fun. When it comes to real life, I don't go for it. We got the police, and the police are working on this, and I'm cooperating with them fully. So do yourself a favor, young man. Get out of here.
You do yourself the favor, and you get all the way downtown to police headquarters, to the office of Detective Lieutenant Louis Parker, cop, gentleman, and good friend.
Hiya, Peter Piper.
Afternoon, Lieutenant.
Oh, I detect a real sweet note in your voice. Okay, what client is paying you how much for you to find out from us what he could have found out for himself? Huh?
You know the usual cry of the private eye. It's confidential.
All right, young fella. What are you working on?
I'm working on that shooting last night at the Cafe Tropical. Did you trace the murder gun yet?
No, but we're working on it. Real interesting case, Pete.
How so?
Know the details?
I know he was shot from the main room all the way out to the bar while the drum guy was working. The dame with the lightning was dancing.
Yeah. One bullet, one shot. That finished him. You know anything about trajectory, Pete? An angle of entrance?
Hey, them's fancy words.
I got them from my science boys. Trajectory tells you about the flight of a bullet. Angle of entrance tells you from what direction the bullet came. And my science boys measured it perfectly. It eliminated everybody in that main room except a group around one table.
And what table was that?
The one Bruce Eldritch was at. There's no question the bullet came from that room, from that table. No powder marks on the body, distance estimated, trajectory, angle of entrance, perfect, everything.
Well, all you had around that table were Bruce Eldridge, Claire Maxwell, Charles Morse, and Ruth Benson.
Mm-hmm. And one of those is eliminated.
Which one?
Ruth Benson. She left the room while Maxwell was still alive, went upstairs, powder room.
Well, does she know that she's eliminated yet?
No, Pete. I like to keep them all guessing, you know.
Claire Maxwell, the wife, Charles Morse, a book critic, and Bruce Eldridge's partner. Well, it certainly narrows them down.
To what? The wife? Why should she? She's married to a rich man. She's sitting pretty. The book critic? Why should he? If he were the murderer, would he plant the murder gun in his own pocket? The partner? Why should he? Paul Maxwell is the brains of Cafe Tropical, and the operation is making money, Pete.
Well, how about prints on the gun?
Smudges.
Look, Louis, I'd like...
Yeah, there's a request for a favor coming up, huh?
Well, two things. One, I'm going up to interview Ruth Benson. Can I tell her that you've eliminated her as a suspect? Well, it'll make a real big Sherlock out of me, and it'll make for her cooperation.
Yeah, well, you talked me into it, Pete. I have to break it to all of them sooner or later. What is the second favor?
Well, the addresses of the interested parties.
Ah, it's an easy one for a change.
So, armed with addresses and an affectionate pat on the back from Parker, you're riding your white horse again, and you're at Ruth Benson's neatly furnished apartment.
I'll be glad to cooperate, Mr. Chambers. Please make yourself comfortable.
A brunette with glistening black hair and glistening black eyes, and more curves than the Indiana Raceway. You give her Parker's dope about her being eliminated as a suspect, and you get what you want. Cooperation.
Anything, Mr. Chambers. Anything at all.
Well, then. Well, first, Bruce Eldridge. He used to own a gun once.
That's a joke. I know about that gun.
Would you break that down for me a little?
Well, about 2 weeks ago, I was at his place. Bruce writes beautiful music, and I'm a singer, you know. And
yeah, I understand.
we were out on the terrace, and he brought out that gun of his, and by accident went off. And guess what?
I give up.
He fainted dead away. Guy's got a phobia. As a matter of fact, when Paul Maxwell found out I'd been at Bruce's apartment, he raised the roof.
And what did he raise the roof about?
Oh, well, Paul and I, we, sort of had a thing going.
And Paul and Bruce, was this, thing what they argued about?
Mm-hmm. But it's ridiculous. Bruce was perfectly innocent of any wrong intention.
Of course. Well, Miss Benson, thank you very kindly.
Not at all, Mr. Chambers.
Next stop, the book-lined retreat of Charles Morse in Greenwich Village.
I welcome this visitor. I've always been keenly interested in the myriad and varied operations of the private investigator.
Charles Morse. Tall, slender, gray-templed, and distinguished. He's sipping brandy from an oversized snifter glass.
A drink, perhaps, Mr. Chambers?
No, thank you.
Oh, shall we get on, then?
Mr. Morse, are you a frequent customer at the Cafe Tropical?
Frequent and regular. An ardent patron, shall we say.
Good. A man of your intelligence, it's a help. So how come you're so good a patron
of a saloon.
Well, sir, it's difficult to put it into words, but I'll certainly try.
Well, that's real sporting of you, sir.
Are you perhaps chiding me?
No, I ain't doing a thing except fishnetting for facts.
Well, about my being a patron of saloons, let me see now. A good many of us, you see, in my profession, book critics, are frustrated writers, and I'll admit to being one of those. Our creative abilities just do not measure up to our desires. So I'm a rather heavy drinker, and in consequence, an excellent customer of watering spots like Café Tropical.
Good enough. Do you know anything of a scrap between Paul and Bruce Eldritch?
No, I do not.
All right, then, Mr. Morris. Thanks for the use of the hall.
But it was most stimulating, Mr. Chambers. I'm at the cafe almost every night, you know, so if you have any further need of my assistance in any way at all, please don't hesitate.
So that night you're back at Café Tropical, and the joint is jumping like they're featuring a strip dancer and handing out binoculars for free. You're greeted by Bruce Eldritch.
Evening, Mr. Chambers.
Hey, wow. Oh, nothing like a murder to drum up business.
Quite macabre tonight, aren't you, Mr. Chambers?
Macabre. Everybody in this cast of characters makes with the big words. You, that Charlie Morris. You mind if I go in the bar and mix with a hoi polloi like Toby Tobias?
Don't mind in the least, Mr. Chambers.
Oh, hiya, Shamus. How's the Shamus business?
How's with the bartending business?
It stinks, too. But if I play my cards right, I'm getting out of it.
Well, before we go any further in this colloquy, point of order.
Yeah?
Scotch and soda.
Coming at you, Mr. Chambers.
And now, what's with your imminent retirement?
Listen hard, Mr. Chambers. Because either I make it or you make it.
Look, Tobias, it's a little late for riddles. This is a moment of relaxation for me.
It's about this here case you're working on.
Oh, well, talk it up, Tobias, my lad.
Now, if I spill the dope I got, this whole case becomes a hanger for you.
So, spill?
Nah, I ain't spilling yet, but I got a hunch I know just what this thing is all about. Now, that kind of information is good for a little payola from a certain party. Enough payola for me to retire. So tonight, I make me play. I'm off tonight at 11, and then I make me little old play.
If your little old play backfires?
Then I'm calling on you at home, on the phone. And with the info I got for you, you're going to turn out to be a big hero.
How much you asking for, Toby?
10,000 smackers.
Hey.
And the party's getting off cheap. Excuse me for now, Mr. Chambers. I got to go to work. And don't forget to be home come 11 o'clock.
The crowd keeps pouring in like it's bargain day at Macy's, and the confusion mounts. And you like it, because right now you can use confusion. It gives you a chance to slip off your bar stool and slip up the stairs. The door to Claire Maxwell's room isn't locked. And inside you do a rapid search. And out of a dresser drawer, you come up with an interesting item. An expensive, heavy gold medal. On one side, there's an engraving of crossed pistols, and beneath that, the initials CM. CM. Claire Maxwell. The reverse side says Westchester Target Club competition, first prize, June 15th, 1953. You slip the medal in your pocket, and you're ready for a further gander when...
What's going on here?
Claire Maxwell. Indignation in her eyes, and much worse, an automatic in her hand. Big, black, deadly.
Are you looking for something, Mr. Chambers?
Nothing special, Mrs. Maxwell?
Now get out of here, quickly, please.
I'm not finished yet, Mrs.
You're
Maxwell.
finished, or you will be. Look, I got a right to shoot. You're a trespasser here. Now, don't come a step nearer, or I'll shoot.
Now, I've got the gun, and you've got nothing but, let's say, a guilty conscience. Because you meant to shoot.
Get out! Get out!
A little lesson first, Mrs. Maxwell. Right here, see? You see? This is a safety catch. The gun don't go off unless the safety catch is unhooked. That's for next time. Now, for now, I take the clip out, throw your gun back to you like so, and I say, bye now. You go home, but you don't go to bed. You linger over a cup of coffee like a guy in a cafeteria killing time for a dime. Then at 11:15... Hello?
Mr. Chambers.
Yeah?
Toby. Now, look, the party give me a bellyache, so now I give the party a bellyache.
Where are you at, the Tropical?
No. I'm in a little broken-down saloon on 3rd Avenue and 56th. I want you to meet me here right away.
Oh, what happened to your retirement plans, Toby?
I ain't going to retire, but the party is. The party is going to retire for good.
But...
Now, come on down here, Mr. Chambers, and listen to Toby make like a canary. The name of this joint...
Hello? Toby! Toby! You get to 56th and 3rd fast, but not fast enough because the cops are there already. And the boss man is Louis Parker. You set him up on the facts.
And it's directly connected with the other thing, right?
Couldn't be righter, Louis.
Any idea who that certain party was?
No idea at all. Any witnesses to this shooting?
No, nothing. Look, Pete, it's late. No use you knocking yourself out on this one. Go home, go to sleep. We'll be in touch.
I think you're right, Louis. Oh, by the way, you traced that gun yet?
Gun? What gun?
You know, the gun in the other shooting, the Paul Maxwell deal.
But what's with guns? What's your interest?
Nothing. Just asking.
Look, stop bothering me with guns now. Huh? I got work to do. Good night, detective.
So you're still at sea about Bruce Eldridge's gun. And that, after all, is your real interest. That's what you're going to be paid $500 for. Anyway, you go to sleep like a log. And the next afternoon, you're at the Westchester Target Club, asking questions and getting answers. You're back in Manhattan now and ready for the wrap-up. You put in a call to Parker, and comes nighttime, you're a saloon goer again. Cafe Tropical.
Any news for me, Mr. Chambers?
Sir Eldridge, could we talk somewhere alone?
Sure. Come on upstairs.
Charlie Morse show up yet?
Expect him practically any moment. Do you want to talk to him, too?
Don't mind if I do. All right, I'll leave word down here for him.
All right, then, Mr. Chambers.
Mr. Eldridge, why didn't you tell me there was bad blood between you and Mr. Maxwell?
Well, I wouldn't.
Over Ruth Benson.
Well, because I don't believe in washing dirty linen in public. Now, look, Mr. Chambers, I didn't kill Paul Maxwell.
I was told you people wanted to speak with me.
Mr. Chambers, I said I didn't kill Paul Maxwell.
I know that, and I'm not accusing you.
But
I am, however, accusing him.
What? Charles Morse?
I'm accusing him of the murder of Paul Maxwell and Toby Tobias.
Have you gone out of your mind, Chambers?
Now, listen, my dear cultured book critic. You see this medal? See it? Which I found in Mrs. Maxwell's room? Well, that set me on the right track.
Medal?
The initials on it are CM. I thought it was Claire Maxwell. But this afternoon, I learned at the Westchester Target Club that CM was for Charles Morse.
And on the strength of that, you're accusing me.
Only one of three people could have killed Paul Maxwell.
Yes, that's right. The police have already informed us of that.
Bruce Eldridge, no soap, a gun phobia. Claire Maxwell, no soap, because she pulled a gun on me yesterday. And she didn't even know how to flip the safety catch. Plus, our murderer had to be a crack shot. He killed Paul with one bullet. That, my good friend, leaves us...
That is all, Mr. Chambers. My compliment. Notice, please, I'm holding a gun, and as you know now, it's in the most competent of hands.
And as long as you've got the drop on us, friend, you may as well complete the story just to satisfy our curiosity.
No, but I will finish it to exonerate Claire Maxwell. She had nothing to do with Paul's murder.
She had your medal, pal, and a rather expensive one.
I loved her, and she loved me. We asked Paul, we begged Paul for a divorce, but he wouldn't accede, so I figured out the next best way.
And when Tobias with the big eyes added two and two together and tried blackmail...
I was then compelled to dispose of Tobias, too.
And now, what kind of chance do you think you have now?
I don't know, but I'll find out. I intend to make a run for it. So, I back to the door. And remember, gentlemen...
Okay, Charlie, drop the gun.
Charles Morse may have won a medal, but Parker has won many medals. Anyway, in the exchange of gunfire, Morse winds up with a leaking shoulder, and Parker winds up with a wide smile. And the next day, seated in your office, you thank Louis Parker for his nick-of-time heroics, and you're back to your favorite subject. Louis, just for kicks, was that original gun traced yet?
No, and I got it right here. My bet is he bought it in a hot shop. Hey, you see, every possible mark of identification has been filed off. Nobody can actually trace that.
Oh, I don't know. Some people have an intuitive sense.
Some people can tell just by looking at things.
Oh, meaning you.
That's precisely what I mean, Lieutenant.
Look, Detective, if you can tell me where this gun came from, I'll donate $500 to the Damon Runyon Fund.
Fair enough.
But if you don't, you donate.
That's a deal. Now, look, Louis, I got big fat news for you. I couldn't tell you before, but that gun happened Mr. Chambers, I found my gun. You what? It had fallen behind some books on the shelf, and my maid in cleaning.
Hey, what's this all about?
Yeah, but nevertheless, Mr. Chambers, I owe you $500, and I want to write my check for it this very moment. Yeah, you write your check and make it out to the Damon Runyon Fund. Oh? Give it to the lieutenant here. Oh, well, now, that's very charitable of you, Mr. Chambers. Very charitable indeed.
And there you've had Crime and Peter Chambers. Dane Clark was starred as Peter Chambers. Crime and Peter Chambers was created and written by Henry Kane. Others in the cast were Bill Zuckert, heard as Lieutenant Parker, Ann Petoniak as Claire, Ed Peck as Charles, and Nelson Olmsted as Bruce. It was directed by Fred Wade. This is Fred Collins inviting you to tune in next week, same time, same station, for Dane Clark in Crime and Peter Chambers.
71 years ago, from June 22nd, 1954, Crime and Peter Chambers here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow, Lights Out, the happy ending. Chester Morris as Boston Blackie from 1944, the summer series, the replacement for Amos and Andy. Johnny Madero, Pier 23 from 1947, starring Jack Webb, and an episode of Sundown from 1950. On Tuesday, Jimmy Stewart as the six-shooter, last show of the series, about Myra Barker from 1954. Raymond Burr, Fort Laramie from 1956. Fibber and Molly from 1941, and My Favorite Husband from 1949. On Wednesday, Jeff Regan, Investigator from 1950, Mr. President from 1950, and then The Whistler from 1950, Manhunt, and Dana Andrews from 1952, I Was Communist, for the FBI and a riot made to order. On Thursday, Fred Allen's final radio show with Henry Morgan and another special guest. Also, George and Gracie from 1940. Phil Harris and Alice Faye dealing with their contract from back in 1949. And The Adventures of Frank Merriwell from 1948. We'll wrap up the week on Friday with another episode of the Chase and Sanborn Hour. And the guest is figure skater Sonia Henney. Also, The Great Gildersleeve and His Wedding Day from 1943. And Jack Benny from 1948. That's all straight ahead this week here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up next, though, we'll go all the way back to World War II. Back to 1942 for an episode of Counterspy.
This is Art Linkletter. In event of atomic bombing or some other catastrophe, here's something important to remember. It will help save lives, including your own. Do not use the telephone. Leave the line open for official rescue and relief. This is your part in civil defense. Remember, don't use the phone. Leave the line clear for safety of your own life and the lives of others.
We continue now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of Counterspy. This goes back, I think, to the first season that the show ran, 1942, June 2nd, 22nd, 1942, 83 years ago, as Don Maclaughlan and Mandel Kramer seek to deal with the case of the Border Invaders.
10 p.m. BULOVA, Bulova watch time. Then, here's exceptional value. A handsomely streamlined Bulova Alden, 15 joules, extremely dependable. Only $24.75. WEAF, New York.
Washington, calling Counterspy. Washington, calling Counterspy.
calling Washington. Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
The Blue Network presents Phillips H. Lord, Counterspy. Counterspy is dedicated to all government undercover men, that invisible army which protects our men on the fighting front, in our industries and secrets on the home front. Imagine chief counterspy of them all as David Harding. One of the methods enemy spies have been using recently to enter the country is to try and fly over our borders at night and drop by parachute in some wild section of a border state. In old Mexico, way back in the sandy hills, is a ranch on which is a modern airplane. The ranch is about 90 miles south of Juarez and is well hidden in the hills. Tonight, a Gestapo agent has arrived at the Mexican ranch from where he'll be flown over the border and dropped into Texas. The airplane has been pushed out and is about to take off from the ranch.
We are ready to take off for the Texas border, Herr Burger.
Take the suitcase. Put it in the cockpit.
Senor Burger!
Yeah?
Senor Burger!
Yeah, what is it, Herr?
Do not go yet.
Why not?
A very unusual thing has just happened, senor.
Yeah.
No one ever comes this far from the main road, but at the ranch house has just arrived Councilor Carlos Costello.
Costello?
He is taking a long trip by horseback for his health, si, senor.
Make him leave. We do not want this place discovered.
Oh, but I have a very interesting thought.
So?
Suppose I tell him you are wealthy Americans down here with your plane. You are going to take a little ride under the moon in the sky. I invite him to go with you.
Yeah?
When you cross the border, you will fly very low. It will be very unfortunate, but his feet and hands will be tied very tight. The door of the airplane will open. He will fall out. He will be killed. You will find him with his hands and feet tied and dead on American soil.
Aha. I see.
There will be quite a strain between the Mexican and the United States governments. A prominent government official murdered on American soil.
Yeah, hello. It is a good thought. When they pick you to run this ranch, they pick the right man.
You like my little idea, huh?
The Gestapo shall hear about this. You shall be rewarded.
Please, not by medals. I prefer my reward in money.
Go, hello. Invite the official to join us. Then we will see what happens. We are so glad you could take this little flight with us, Counselor.
Ah, so beautiful. I was never in an airplane at night. With the moon. It is so romantic.
You are aware, Counselor, we have crossed the border between Mexico and the United States?
No. Is it not against the law?
Oh, I am sure no one will object while we have such a distinguished gentleman of the Mexican government.
What is the meaning of this?
Oh, you need help, Burger. Yes, Hans. Tie his feet while I tie his hands.
Jawohl.
Who are you? The Gestapo, if you would like to know. Right now.
Why are you kidnapping me?
They are going to open the door of the plane, and you are going to fall out.
No, you cannot.
You will be found on American soil, and a very delicate international situation should result.
You are a fool. All my bones will be broken. They will know I was thrown from an airplane.
The Gestapo is not so stupid. We will fly very low, so you will not be killed. But your body will not be mangled either. Drop as low as you can. Soon Mexico, like the United States, will belong to Germany. And you will be glad that you are dead.
You pig!
Lower! Now, Counselor, I shall open the door, and we will make ready for your big experience.
Dios omnipotente, guardadme. Libradme, Dios, this hombres.
What are you doing? Praying? You fool.
I cannot fight. I'm tired. Therefore, I must pray.
Pray? To whom? Fool. Superstition.
Jesus Santísimo, guardad mi alma. En ti es mi salvación.
I will not hear such dribble. There are no enough hands. Here. Why do you have a crayon in your hand? Give me that.
Please, senor. Give me a chance to leave.
Now I shall push you through the door. Scream. Holla, go on. Oh. He
fault. So, here's it. Put the plane back on the course.
Hello.
Proceed.
This is Harding speaking. I'm in the testing laboratory of the Walker Optical Company. In an hour, I shall take a plane for Washington. Set up my appointment for me at 3 o'clock with Colonel Marvin. Tell him urgent. Emergency.
Yes, sir.
You wish me to continue, Mr. Harding?
Yes, Mr. Walker. And this is a grave emergency. Now, those light bulbs you have lined up over there, are they lit now?
Yes. But naturally, as they are high-frequency lights, you cannot see them with your naked eye.
I see.
You cannot see the light, Mr. Harding, unless you are wearing this green hypie lens in your glasses. This is a 5-tray-1. Now, look through it.
Right. Yes. Yes, I can see the left light's burning, but I can't tell whether the one on the right is burning or not.
Well, you would need another specially colored lens to see that one.
Oh.
In other words, Mr. Harding, these high-frequency lights can be burning, but you cannot see them unless you are wearing specially prepared lenses.
Well, Mr. Walker, as I explained to you, this is a case of great emergency. It involves an international incident with Mexico.
I see.
How soon could you make me 12 pairs of each of these two different lenses?
Why, I believe by 8 in the morning, Mr. Harding.
Good. I'll have a Navy plane waiting off Pier 3 and a government car here to deliver them to the plane at 8 sharp in the morning. Right now, I'm going to fly to Washington.
What can I do for you, Mr. Harding?
Well, Colonel Marvin, we've known for some time that certain Gestapo agents have been getting into this country by flying over the border from a ranch in Mexico. Now, they're landing in a deserted section of Texas, where they usually stay for several days before leaving for different parts of the United States.
In other words, you've allowed them to enter this way because you know how they're entering. And that's better than stopping this route and forcing them to find some other method, which may take you months to discover. Is that it?
Exactly, Colonel.
Harding, you know we'll do anything possible to help you.
Now, Colonel, tomorrow night I'd like to have about 8 Army planes from Field A-46 fly all over the state of Texas and into Louisiana. Now, I'll be at field headquarters in Texas with a map to get their reports.
What information are you looking for, Harding?
Now, one house which we recently raided had up the chimney a high-frequency light. Now, that light can't be seen at night when you're flying over the house unless you have a certain colored lens in your glasses. I feel sure that there are a certain few houses for, let's say, 200 miles in Texas which have these lights hidden up the chimney.
I see.
Now, the pilot who's flying these foreign agents in wears these special colored glasses. He can see these high-frequency lights placed in the chimneys, and these help keep him on his course.
And you want to locate every house which has such a light?
Yes, and it's vital.
I'll have a plane ready to leave in 2 hours, Harding, and I'll fly down with you to see that you have everything you need.
Thank you, sir. Now, Colonel, if we can have the houses which have these invisible lights spotted from the air, we'll know the exact route the plane's flying, which brings in these spies, right to the ranch where they land and stay for a few days. When that time comes, we'll be able to make a mass raid.
I see, yes. But, Harding, what are we doing about that prominent Mexican official found tied and murdered on American soil? That's a very embarrassing situation.
Well, Colonel, there's something about that murder that I can't tell as yet. I want to check certain additional facts before I speak.
All right, Harding. You're doing a wonderful job, and I'll see that 8 Army planes will be flying over the designated section of Texas tomorrow night.
Thank you, sir.
Just look at this chart, Mr. Harding. That last report mentioned this house. Southwest, square 411.
Let me have that other chart, Kelly.
Yes, sir.
Yes, notice how this route's beginning to shape up.
42B calling. 42B calling 4X.
Come in.
I'm flying over Sandville. Check your chart. Chart square TS4. Chart square TS4.
Here's the square he's talking about, Kelly, this square.
Northeast beam, intersection, main highway, 2 miles from corner. Can you locate on your chart?
Yes. This house right here. 42P. We have located it.
42P, signing off.
I've got that marked. Your signal light's on, Kelly. The upper frequency. Yes, sir.
42R, calling. 42R, calling.
Come in, 42R. Come in, 42R.
Chart square, 6, CS6. Northeast corner, intersection, military highway. Out in course of road.
I've got that one, too. It's right here.
Cross-check with field light. Southeast, due west. That's all. 42R signing off.
Kelly, these houses being spotted are on a perfectly straight line from the border right to the ranch we've been suspecting. Now, tomorrow night, we'll fly this route, check all of the houses we're marking, and go right to their landing field. Now, bring a short wave set along with you in your suitcase.
We've seen every light the pilots reported last night, Mr. Hardy.
As we should spot that ranch and their landing field most any minute.
Yes, sir.
Kelly, I'm going to tell you something that nobody else knows.
It sounds plenty serious, Mr. Hardy.
You know that high Mexican official found murdered on American soil?
Yes, sir.
Well, he was murdered by members of this spy ring we're after right now.
You mean they got him in Mexico, flew him over the border, and dropped him from a plane?
Yes. But that isn't all. It wasn't the body of a high Mexican official.
But his papers. He was identified.
I did the identifying.
Oh. And who was it?
It was one of our own counterspies, Kelly. Tato Zales.
Tato? Murder?
Yes. I was working with the Mexican authorities. We suspected this Mexican ranch, so the Mexican counselor was taken into our confidence. He went into hiding for a few days. And Tato, posing as a counselor, visited the ranch. Well, he was evidently surprised by them and dropped out of a plane.
Good Lord. But how do you know he was dropped from a plane, Mr. Hardy?
The old trick. In the scuffle, he got a pencil from his vest and hid it in the palm of his hand. While his hands were tied together, he was able to write on the palm of one hand the word air.
There's the landing field, Mr. Hardy.
Yes, there's the large ranch house and the 2 barns.
Ah, it's barren, all right. Tato. Murder.
We'll land, and I'll have the pilot take off immediately. Oh, Lieutenant, land as far from the house as you can. We'll hide the suitcase with a short wave set out in the field. Perhaps they won't hear us land. We can get to the house before they know we're here.
What do you want? Who are you?
BR2. We want to stay a couple of days. My name's Mr. David. This is Mr. Kelly.
Where did you come from?
Hacienda Pedro, over the border. We've been traveling a long time. We want to rest a day and then go on.
Yes. I have a room for you. You can have food here, too.
Yeah. Are you empty now, or do you have any more guests?
We have an Italian and a Japanese. I did not want to take him in, but we are under orders.
And your husband?
He is out in the barn. You will meet him when he comes in.
Is the Japanese of the Black Dragons?
Yes.
And the Italian of the Ovra?
Yes.
Heil Hitler.
Heil Hitler.
Now, I ask, for one must be most careful in our work, do you expect any more guests tonight?
Not for several days. You wish to go up to your room now?
Just to clean up. Then I think I'll take a walk around and get a look at things.
After you have washed, you will find my husband in the barn. You will again identify yourself to him.
Calling 42B. Calling 42B. Calling 42B.
Come in.
Calling from field at location specified. Locate for me immediately German couple, about 60. Want couple opposed to Nazi rule. Check my file numbers for names of couples already examined. Fly this couple to our present location. 11:30 tomorrow night. Check.
Report sufficient. 42B off.
That is all. All right, Kelly. Close the case. Slip under the bushes again.
Yes, sir. That Nazi woman in there was a brutal-looking character.
Well, let's get right back to the house. I don't want them to notice that we've been gone too long.
What did you think of her husband?
I'll answer that a little later. If I'm not mistaken, I've got a complete report on him in Washington.
A fanatic, isn't he?
Aren't they all? Would they be Nazis if they weren't?
Well, if you weren't in on the inside of things, though, you could stop at the ranch and not guess anything was wrong.
Oh, yes, they're clever.
What was that?
Quick, get back to the house. What's the matter? What's going on?
Where is everybody?
I heard footsteps upstairs. Let's get up there. Where are you?
What do you want?
Oh.
I was in my room at the other end of the house. I heard a scream from this room. I come running.
This Italian and I got here just at the same time.
I was at the other end of the house, in my room.
You'd better fix your collar. Looks like someone had grabbed it and torn the button off.
Here comes my husband. He will be very angry.
Where were you, may I ask, when this happened? And the other gentleman?
We were walking toward the house. We heard the scream. We ran in here as quickly as possible.
Very pleasant alibi.
What has happened? Why did one of you scream like that? Why are you all standing there looking at... Oh, I see.
He was evidently stabbed in the back while he was sleeping.
I'm not angry because the Japanese is killed. I hate them. But he should have been killed somewhere else. Who did it?
None of us seems to know.
Did you?
I was at the other end of the house, in my room.
And you?
I would not have done it inside the house, you know that.
You too?
No. Oh, we were outside, walking toward the house.
You left me 20 minutes ago. Where have you been since? Why did you not come right back to the house?
Because we were all cramped up from traveling. We wanted to stretch our legs, take a little walk.
So. There are so many ways it could have been done to leave no telltale. The river, out of a plane.
Yes, like possibly you would do with a Mexican.
Why do you say that?
Well, Hello told me of it. The Hacienda Pedro in Mexico. They all thought it very clever.
That man Hello talks too much. Here. Let me get him up on my shoulder. I will take him out and bury him in the field.
Gladly.
There. Come with me. We will bury him to leave no traces.
I will go with you and hold a lantern. Do you two wish to come?
Not interested, thank you. Kelly, will you do me one favor?
What, sir?
Kick me just as hard as you can.
Well, why?
Well, the minute I saw that Jap had been murdered, by habit and instinct, I started to ask questions. I knew the Italian had killed him. And all I'd have had to do was ask about 3 more pointed questions, and there'd have been plenty of trouble.
Come to think of it, you're right. You didn't think the woman killed the Jap spy?
I think they were all in on it. It was planned before we got here.
But that teaser you put out, Mr. Harding, you got results, didn't you?
Yes, he fell for it. He's the one who thought Zolish was the Mexican official and threw him out of the plane.
What's our next move?
Just sit tight until the army plane arrives at 11:30 tomorrow night.
Mr. Harding, that's the Army plane, all right. Yeah. Take these glasses. It's signaling with the invisible light. Just to the right of the moon, see?
Yeah, good. Good. Now we've got to work fast while the plane's landing. The German couple and the Italian are in the sitting room. Let's go in.
And you will leave?
I will be leaving in the morning.
I've already American money, which I will supply with.
If you two gentlemen don't mind my intruding, and if it's all right with you, madam, I'm going to have to ask you all to get your hands up.
Don't move.
We both have you covered. You won't have to do much persuading for me to put a bullet right through you.
Signor, li prego. Per carità, io non sono nemico. Per l'amore di Dio.
You whimpering fool.
We don't operate like your Gestapo, Burger. We give them a chance according to our laws.
Why do you call me Burger? That is not my name.
It's the name I have you listed by in Washington. You forget your activities in the Boone before the war broke out. And incidentally, the Mexican government official you threw from the plane wasn't the Mexican consular.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He was an American counterspy, one of my assistants, posing as a consular. I'll promise you, Burger, you're going to pay for that, and pay plenty.
They will kill us. Signor, I'll give you money. I'll tell you all I know.
Enough of that. An Army plane's just landed outside. Now march out that door to the plane. And keep your hands up.
Mr. Harding, that's a sweet old couple the plane brought down.
Yeah. Motherly-looking soul, isn't she?
You wouldn't think that this couple who just arrived and the other couple who we took out to the plane were both German.
Well, there are some Germans who are not Nazis. Well, I'll let them finish looking around the house, and we'll leave in the Army plane with those others we're taking with us.
Well, I believe we have seen it all, Mr. Harding.
It is quite a place.
Now, do you two feel that you can live here and pretend to be Nazis? And run this place for the spies who come over?
Yeah, Mama is a great actress when she needs to be.
And so is Papa. I will run the house, and he will look after the outside and the little radio station to send you the information.
Good. Now, as soon as a spy arrives, we shall want his complete description. Something that he's touched so we can get his fingerprints. Knowledge of where he's going, and any information about what he has in his bag.
We shall see you have it all, eh, Papa?
We shall do everything. We shall give our lives to see the Nazis crushed and wiped off the face of this earth.
You two must have had a terrible experience from the report.
Oh, we lived just outside of Hamburg. We were happy. And our two boys had graduated and were the ministers of the German Lutheran Church. It was in the middle of the night.
Oh, Papa.
The Gestapo broke in the front door and dragged our two boys out of bed. Then they came and got Mama and me.
You forgot.
They beat our boys because they were ministers of the church. They dragged them outside.
They tied our boys to the fence. They made us watch.
The Gestapo stepped back and took aim and shot them. Our youngest boy, Hans, he did not die. So the leader of the Gestapo put a pistol to his head, spit at him, and fired. The leader of the Gestapo tore off the crucifix that Hans wore around his neck. He threw it on the ground, stepped on it. Then he raised his arm at the Nazi salute and said, Heil Hitler, the Führer will rule the world. We left Germany, Mama and me. It took us 4 months to escape across the border, but we did it. Now we are in this country. God bless it.
Then you know what it means to have the Nazis rule. Wait, I hear footsteps. Somebody's coming. Careful now, there may be trouble.
Yeah? Come in.
I am a traveler, X4 from Mexico, from the Hacienda Pedro.
You have arrived at the right place, X4.
Good. Our plane was forced down. I have had to come the last 100 miles by motorcycle. Heil Hitler! The Führer will rule the world.
The Führer will rule the world. I remember. I shall show you to your room.
Who are these men?
We don't ask questions like that around here.
Yes, you are right. Take my bag.
Yeah. Mama, bring a light from the mantel. We will show this gentleman to his room.
Yeah, Papa.
This way, please.
I don't think, Kelly, that we're needed here anymore.
No.
Let's go to the plane.
Look how bright the stars are tonight, Mr. Hardy.
Yes, Kelly. Now, they're one of the things in this world that are permanent. Permanent like the faith of Christian people. Well, at the time of the Crusaders, barbarians tried to crush faith from the face of the earth. But the Christians rose up and pushed those hordes right back into the sea. Well, the great Christian army has risen again, and Nazism will be wiped from the face of the earth.
Spread a great army of counterspies, men whose names may never be known or their deeds ever revealed. But 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, these counterspies are the guardians of our home front. Counterspy will not be heard next week, June 29th. Starting Monday night, July 6th, Counterspy, a Philip H. Lord production, will be presented at a much more convenient time. 8 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern War Time, 7 to 7:30 p.m. Central Time, 6 to 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 to 5:30 p.m. in the Pacific Time Zone. Tell your friends. Invite them to listen to these exciting dramatized cases. Make it a date for Monday, July 6th, at the new hour. Join the 10% Club, whose membership is composed of all patriotic Americans who are voluntarily putting 10% of their incomes regularly into war bonds and stamps. Here's all you have to do to become a member. Arrange to buy war bonds on a regular basis to the extent of 10% or more of your present income. Or authorize your employer to deduct 10% or more from your regular salary or wage check. Your government is making special efforts to have everyone a member of the 10% Club. Join today. Counterspy originated in New York. You are listening to the Blue Network.
83 years ago, June 22nd, 1942, Counterspy on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage at classicradio.stream. Coming up next, Joel McCrea, Tales of the Texas Rangers.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Boris Karloff. No one can guarantee the survival of every home during a nuclear war, but a strong civil defense can save millions of lives. Make sure that yours is one of them. Learn how to protect your home. Call Civil Defense today.
And also protect your antipasto. Now, Joel McCrea, Tales of the Texas Rangers. This goes back 73 years ago, June 22nd, 1952. Knockout.
Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. Another authentic reenactment of a case transcribed from the files of the Texas Rangers. dates and places in the following story are fictitious for obvious reasons. The events themselves are a matter of record.
NBC will bring you 5 special feature programs prior to the Republican convention. These special shows will consist of, first, Convention Preview on June 28th. This program will inaugurate NBC's advance coverage. George Hicks, well-known radio news commentator and war correspondent, will be your host and bring you interviews with Republican delegates from various sections of the country. Then on Tuesday, July 1st, we bring you Convention City, a complete report on the preparations being made in Chicago to receive the thousands of people who will descend on the city in July for the conventions. Jim Hurlbut will serve as narrator and will offer you interviews with the people whose job it will be to house, entertain, and feed the convention delegates. And on Thursday, July 3rd, hear a headquarters report featuring NBC newsmen W.W. Chaplin, Merrill Muller, Richard Harkness, and Bob Letts. Consult your local newspaper for broadcast time and join us for complete convention coverage on NBC. And now back to Tales of the Texas Rangers.
And now, from the files of the Texas Rangers, the case called Knockout.
It is 10 o'clock on a Saturday night in July 1946. Outside the Rand Hotel in Jackson, Texas, 50 miles from Houston, the sheriff stands talking to some cattle ranchers who are in town for a convention. He is about to leave the group and walk toward his car when the front door of the hotel bursts open.
Sheriff! Over here. Sheriff, in the hotel, hurry.
Oh, excuse me, Bill. See you later. Yeah, what's the matter?
Upstairs on the second floor, some kind of trouble.
Well, come on, show me where it is.
Mrs. Beale, she just called, sounded scared to death. Said there was an awful fight going on in the next room, right up these stairs here.
You haven't been up there yet?
No. I remember seeing you in the lobby a few minutes ago. Hope you'd still be around.
You're sure she said there was a fight?
Oh, yeah, that's what you said.
Well, we'll find out what it's all about. Excuse me, ma'am.
That's okay.
She sure come around that corner fast. Which way do we go?
Oh, right down here. Miss Beale's room is in the middle of the hall.
Don't seem to be any noise up here now.
Who's there?
It's a desk clerk, ma'am.
Oh, you brought the sheriff. Well, I'm so glad.
I understand you think you heard some fighting going on up here.
Somebody's been killed. I know somebody's been killed.
Which room was it, ma'am?
That one right there.
Want me to come with you, Sheriff?
No, you better stay here with Miss Beale, just in case there is some trouble.
Who is it?
It's the sheriff. Open up.
I'm busy. Can you come back in a little while?
Open up. I want to talk to you now.
Okay. Just a minute.
Come on. Hurry up in there.
Okay, I'm coming.
What's all the trouble, Sheriff?
I heard there was a fight going on in this room.
Fight? It must be some mistake.
I'd like to come in and take a look around.
Well, what for, Sheriff? There's nothing wrong here.
Do you mind standing aside?
Well, sure. That's the way you feel about it. Come on in. See, there's nothing wrong in here.
Who's that in the bathroom?
My father. He's taking a bath.
What's that white powder on the floor next to the table there?
Where? Oh, that. It's some of my father's medicine. He spilled it a while ago. I was just getting ready to clean it up when you knocked.
Well, everything looks all right, I guess. You mind moving aside a second?
Aside from what, Sheriff?
Come on, mister, move.
Well, sure. I just didn't know what you meant.
How'd that chair leg get broken?
Chair... Oh, I tripped over it. Almost broke my neck when I fell. Matter of fact, that's probably what made people think there was a fight in here. I'm a big man, and when I fall, I really go down hard.
I think I'd like to have a word with your father.
Well, like I told you, he's taking a bath. Why don't you come back later?
I'll talk to him now. Mister? Oh, mister?
The old man's a little hard of hearing with the water running.
Yeah, well, he'll hear this. Mister! I want to talk to you, mister. I reckon I'll just have to go in.
No, you don't.
Why, give me back that gun.
Yeah, I'll give it back.
Hey, mister, what happened in there? Hey, mister, where you going? Sheriff! Sheriff, what? Help!
The
sheriff recovered quickly. On the bathroom floor, he found the body of an elderly man. The dead man was identified by the clerk as George Wilton, a rancher. Wilton had been the only guest registered in that room. After requesting the clerk to phone with the Texas Rangers, the sheriff left to see if he could pick up the trail of the assailant. 20 minutes later, Rangers Jace Pearson and Clay Morgan climbed the stairs to the second floor of the hotel.
Looks like the room down here to the right, Jace.
Fellow standing in front of the door must be the desk clerk.
Yeah, sure guarding for us. He's not letting that crowd get anywhere near.
All right, folks.
Excuse us here, please.
Stand aside so the Rangers can get through. Will you please stand aside here? Please.
Where's the body?
It's in the bathroom, Ranger.
Anything been touched?
Oh, no, sir. No. Sheriff left special orders not to disturb anything till you got here. I didn't even turn the water off.
The water?
Yes, sir. Running in the bathtub. I had to pull a plug out, though, so it wouldn't run over on the floor.
Did you get a look at the man who ran away?
I sure wish I had. I only saw his back. Sheriff got a good look at him, though. Too good a look was the way he put it. I never saw a man as mad as the sheriff was when he come to.
We'll take a look inside now. We may want to ask you a few more questions later.
Yes, sir. I expect you want to talk to Mrs. Beale, too. She's the lady who first heard the fighting.
Is she around?
In a room right next door. I'll get it if you want.
Fine. We'll be out in a few minutes.
All right.
Bathroom door's a little ajar.
Yeah. I don't expect we'll get any prints off the doorknob now, but you better kick it open with your foot anyhow.
Yeah, there he is. Poor old fellow. He sure took some knock on the head.
Way he's lying, I got an idea he was dragged in here from the other room. Take a look through his pockets, Clay. I'll see if there's some way to shut this water off.
Yeah. Might be a cutoff valve back at the tub.
Yeah, there is. Find anything?
No, pockets are clean. Looks like it might have been robbery.
We'll get a lab crew up here to go over the place for prints.
I don't think they'll find too much, Jace.
How do you mean?
This drinking glass with a towel stuffed in it, full of dust. You notice how everything's wiped clean in here? Like somebody tried to get rid of any possible prints.
He tried, all right. These other glasses, for instance, you can see they've been used recently, but there's not a print on them. As far as I can figure, there's only one place in here our friend forgot.
Where's that?
Over here. Take a look at that water faucet in the tub.
Yeah, good, clear print. Say, if you're right about the old man being dragged in here after he was dead, there's a good chance this print belongs to the guy who did it.
Let's see if there's anything outside in the room.
Killer must have been pretty big to be able to slug the sheriff easy as he did. Don't reckon the old fella had much of a chance either.
It's like he put up a fight, though. A broken chair leg and... Hey, wait a minute.
You looking at that white powder on the floor?
Yeah. Could be one other thing the killer didn't have time to clean up.
More like crystals than powder. Any idea what it is, Jace?
Not yet, but it shouldn't take the lab long to find out. In the meantime, we better have a talk with the woman who heard the fighting in here.
Lucky the sheriff got a look at the killer. At least he'll be able to make an identification if that print in the bathroom doesn't give us a lead.
Could be our man won't even have a record. If he doesn't, we won't get much from the print or the mug file.
Oh, here they are, Mrs. Beale.
I'm Mrs. Beale, Ranger. The desk clerk said you wanted to talk to me.
Yes, ma'am. We're interested in anything you can remember about this.
Yes. Well, I was lying in bed trying to sleep. I knew I wouldn't sleep because my asthma was bothering me, but I thought I'd try anyhow.
What time was this, ma'am?
Time? Oh, well, I'm not exactly sure, but it couldn't have been more than 30 minutes after I took my brown pill, so I'd say it was about 9:30.
It was just a couple of minutes to 10 when you called me, Mrs. Beale.
I know that, young man. What I wanted to tell the Ranger started long before that. Now, let's see, where was I?
You were lying in bed, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Well, I heard the door open in the next room. I didn't want to listen, but you know how thin these walls are, and when those people come into the room, they made so much noise.
How many were there?
Well, there was an old man. I understand he was the one who died. And there was a younger man. He had a real deep voice. But the one I heard clearest was the girl.
Girl?
That's right. She had the most piercing voice I ever heard, and the way she was laughing, I could tell she had no breeding.
Could you hear what they were saying?
Well,
I think that's your phone, Mrs. Beale.
Oh, dear, just when I was
Well, I'll
getting
take it for you.
Oh, that would be nice of you, young man. You tell whoever it is that I'm very busy.
Ma'am, you were saying you could hear the people in the next room talking?
Yes, I could. They'd all been drinking. And then they started to tell the most awful stories, simply awful. I want to put my hands over my ears.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the old man was just fascinated by this hussy. Well, I'm sorry, Rangers, but that's the only word I know to describe her. He laughed at everything she said. And the things she said. Well, all of a sudden, the old man stopped laughing and got real angry. He started shouting at the girl. Told her she'd put something in his drink. Then, before I knew it, the most awful fight started. Just awful. And the next thing I knew, someone banged against the wall, and I was almost thrown out of bed.
Did you hear anything else?
Yes. After that, they were whispering in there. But it was so low, I just couldn't hear what they were saying.
That was
so
your
I tried...
headquarters, Ranger. They want you to get in touch with the sheriff by radio as soon as you can.
Thanks. And thank you, Mrs. Beale.
Oh, but I have some more to tell you about when the sheriff was up there. When he
But we
came
won't
in
have
with...
to trouble you about that, ma'am. The sheriff will file it in his report.
Oh.
Come on, Clay. Yeah. Funny the way people enjoy getting mixed up in something like this. Scared to death and still get a kick out of it.
Yeah. She did help us, though. At least we can be pretty sure now about our killer's racket.
Confidence game?
Uh-huh. The old man was probably lonely and got a little careless about showing how much money he had in his pocket.
Yeah, sure sounds like the old story.
I've got a hunch those crystals we found on the floor will turn out to be knockout drops.
The girl must have skipped before the sheriff got there.
Yeah, she could have gone out to set up their getaway.
Well, I sure hope either that print in the bathroom pays off or the sheriff can make some kind of identification.
Yeah. And if we don't get any lead tonight, we'll have the sheriff drive over to Austin with us in the morning and go through the mug files.
Hey, Jace, I wonder what the sheriff wants us to call him for.
Find out right now. Get that code sheet out of the glove compartment and see what his call number is, will you?
Sure, Jace. Let's see. Oh, here it is, 692.
Thanks. Unit 10 to Unit 692. Unit 10 to 692.
Unit 692 to Unit 10. This unit requests assistance in apprehending fugitive killer believed to be hiding here in field 1.5 miles south of Jackson. Unable to make search until more help arrives.
10-4, Unit 10 will join 692 immediately. Unit 10, clear.
692, clear.
That must be the sheriff up ahead, Chase. There, swinging his spotlight across that cornfield.
Yeah, looks like a barbed wire fence at the back. If our man's in there, he'll have a tough time getting out that way.
Doubt if he could get out either end without the sheriff seeing him.
Howdy, Jace. Clay. I've been trying to cover the field with my spotlight here, in case he pops up.
You sure it was him you saw?
Oh, couldn't be any mistake about it. I'd been out cruising around looking for him. I was just heading back to town when I saw this fellow walking toward me up the road. Recognized him as soon as I put the light on him, then he run into the field.
Hey, mind getting the flashlights, Clay? We'll go in after him.
Sure, Jace.
Keep that spot running across the back fence, Sheriff. Clay and I'll try and flush him out.
Okay. But I'd sure like to go in after this one myself. I got a personal score to settle with him.
How's that bump on your head?
Oh, I'll be all right. I could kick myself where I let him get my gun and slug me.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's just hope we can pick him up now.
Here's your flash, Jace.
Thanks. Any idea where he went in, Sheriff?
And near as I can figure, it's about 30 feet up the road.
Well, keep as far away from your spotlight as you can. If he thinks he's being cornered, he might take a shot at you.
Yeah, that'd be something, wouldn't it? With my own gun. Lucky I had my rifle in the car. If he makes a break across that fence, I'm going to make Swiss cheese out of him.
Let's go, Clay. Better be careful with our lights, too.
Yeah. Well, we know this baby. He's desperate enough to try anything.
This could be where he went in.
Mm-hmm. Corn stalks have been over all right.
Watch yourself. We don't know how far in he might be.
Yeah.
Seems like he's starting veering to the right.
Mm-hmm. Toward that motel over there.
Trail looks like it stops just ahead.
No, it doesn't stop, Jace. He must have started crawling along the furrows here.
Yeah, it could have been when the sheriff first threw his spot on the field. He shouldn't be too far away.
Yeah, sure is making a beeline for that motel.
Hold it a second. You hear anything?
No. Here, let me lift my light.
Jace, there he goes.
Come on.
Hold it, you! He's yelling at somebody.
See if we can stop him.
He's heading right for those motel cabins.
Hold your fire, Clay.
We're gaining on him.
Yeah, but he's going around the corner of that cabin.
You reckon we better split up?
Uh-huh. You take the left and I'll...
Hey, there's a car taking off, Jace.
No lights. Must be him.
Too far away, missed.
Let's get back to our car and see if we can catch him. By the time we'd reached our car, he was out of sight. We took off after him, leaving the sheriff to make inquiries at the motel office. We radioed for blockades to be set up throughout the area. For the rest of the night, we made an extensive search without finding a trace of our man. At dawn, we reached a highway patrol roadblock. We turned around and headed back toward Jackson, covering all side roads along the way.
I don't know, Jace. It's a cinch he couldn't have gotten through that roadblock.
No, but he might have made it through before the block was set up.
I've been thinking. That was a pretty fast getaway he made last night. Too fast for him to have stolen a car from the motel.
It's probably his own car. Remember, he was yelling to somebody while he was running across the field.
Could have been the girl he works with. Maybe the motel is where they'd been staying.
Maybe. If we don't spot him in another half hour, I reckon we better go pick up the sheriff. See if he can make an identification from the mug files.
Yeah, I wonder if he found out anything at that motel office.
KTXA to Unit 10.
Unit 10 to KTXA. Go ahead, KTXA.
Fingerprint in bathroom of Hotel Rand, Jackson, has been identified as belonging to Gus Howard. Repeat, Gus Howard. 2 prison terms for fraud and felonious assault. Released from Huntsville, April 1946.
10-4. No other traffic. Unit 10 clear.
No other traffic. KDXA.
Howard, huh? Hey, Jace, didn't you once have something to do with the guy by that name?
I sent Gus up on his last trip.
Any idea where he might be hanging out now?
No, but I'm pretty sure where we can get a lead on Millie Vinson.
Well, who's she?
Gus's partner. And except when they're in jail, they're never very far away from each other. Hang on, Clay. We're heading for Houston.
In just a moment, we will continue with Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson.
Only a madman or a fool would intentionally set fire to one of our forests or woodlands. Yet 90% of our forest fires are started by people. Most of these man-caused fires are due to plain carelessness, a campfire left smoldering, a lighted match thrown from a car window, a cigarette not extinguished. In less troubled times, the waste due to forest fires would be tragic. In these dangerous times, it can be disastrous. Forest fires destroy natural resources we need to keep our country strong. They impede the production and transportation of critical defense supplies, interfere with military training, and may destroy military installations. Join in the fight against carelessness. Crush out cigarettes, cigar, and pipe ashes. Break matches in two after using. Find out the law before using a fire. One moment of carelessness can destroy national beauty and wealth that can never be replaced. Forest fires are a shameful waste because they can be prevented. Remember, only you can prevent forest fires. And now, back to Tales of the Texas Rangers.
We continue now with Tales of the Texas Rangers and our authentic story, Knockout.
It was a little before 10 that morning when we arrived in Houston. We parked the car a few doors away from the house where Millie Vinson's mother lived and walked toward it. It was a corner house in a poor neighborhood.
Not the fanciest place in the world, is it, Jace?
Millie's mother never went in for trimmings.
Yeah. Hey, Jace, through this side window. Girl sitting at the table.
Yeah, we're lucky. It's Millie herself.
What the devil's she doing with her foot up on the table?
I don't know. Let's get around to the front.
Think Gus is around somewhere?
It's hard to say. Matter of fact, I'm a little surprised to see Millie.
Maybe she wasn't in on that job last night.
We'll know that soon enough.
It's open, Ma. What are you knocking for? Bring the seat. Oh. What do you want?
We want to talk to you, Millie.
I've done enough talking to you.
Where's Gus?
Get out of my light. Can't see what I'm doing.
Where's Gus, Millie?
Don't you ever get tired? How do I know where Gus is? I haven't seen him for 3 months.
Well, we look around anyhow.
Who says you can?
This?
I'd have known you'd have a warrant. Okay, go ahead. Look.
I reckon you better walk around with us.
Did you see I'm doing my toenails?
They'll wait. Come on.
Okay.
Is this the bathroom?
It ain't the dining room.
Not in there. How about that room?
It's Ma's room. Door's open. You can see there's nobody in it.
What about this one over here?
This your room, Millie?
Yeah, and you ain't going in.
Excuse me, miss.
I said you ain't going in.
Now, look.
You stay away from that door.
Come on, get out of the...
I said keep away.
Oh, I can see why you didn't want us in here. What are you doing with all those clothes on the bed, Millie? You getting ready to go somewhere?
I'm airing my dresses.
You always keep a couple of suitcases handy when you air dresses?
Okay, so maybe I'm going away.
Where?
It's my business. Hey, anybody got a cigarette?
Here.
Match?
Here you go.
Where were you last night, Millie?
Right here.
You sure you weren't over in Jackson with Gus?
I told you I haven't seen Gus for 3 months.
We think you and he might have been up to your own knockout tricks, only this time your friend Gus killed a man.
I was right here all last night.
Where's your mother?
What do you want with her?
Was she home last night, too?
Sure.
Then we'll see if her story's the same as yours.
She's out. Won't be home for 5 or 6 hours.
Sounds like you expected her when we walked in.
We'll just stick around till she gets here.
I told you she won't be...
Sounds like somebody coming now.
I'll get the door.
Just let us do the talking, Millie.
Doggone dog, you. Get out! Get away, you hear? Go on, you car. I'll kick you in your teeth right now. Now get. Oh, Millie, that's the last I'm going for groceries for you. Next time, you... Oh, you back her again?
We want to ask you a few questions, Mrs. Vinson.
Tell him I was here last night. Tell him, Ma.
I said we'd do the talking. Mrs. Vinson, where was Millie last night?
Right here?
Were you with her?
Why, sure, of course it was. Think I go running around nights?
How about yesterday afternoon?
I was here. So was Millie.
I suppose Gus was here, too.
Why, sure, you was here, too.
Ma!
What's the matter?
You dumb... Gus wasn't here.
Well, how am I supposed to know? You ought to tell me who's supposed to be here and who ain't.
You stupid.
All right, Millie. Get your shoes on. You're going with me. Clay stayed at the house in case Gus showed up. I took Millie back with me to Jackson. It was just past noon when we walked down the corridor to the sheriff's office. Come on, Millie. Pick up your feet.
You in such a big hurry.
Go on in. Sheriff?
That you, Jace?
Yeah. I think I got one of the pigeons from last night.
I'll be right in.
And you can sit down if you want.
Thanks.
You could make it easier for everybody if you'd tell us where Gus is.
Tell you? I got nothing to say to you.
Well, howdy, Jace. Well, who's this?
Millie Vinson. She used to work with Gus Howard. We think she worked with him last night.
That's a lousy lie.
I've seen her someplace before, Jace.
You're crazy. You never seen me.
She spent a couple of terms up at the woman's prison.
There wasn't there, sir. I just can't think where it was.
Millie doesn't seem to want to tell us where her partner is.
How do I know where he is?
He's never worked without you before.
Well, he does now.
It's not likely. You'd never let Gus work with another woman. And I don't think you did last night.
I was home last night. I can prove it.
You mean by your mother? Not after that slip she made.
Ma gets mixed up every now and then. She'll be all right in court. If you ever get me to court.
You'll be there. Because last night you and Gus went with an old man to his hotel room. When he caught you slipping knockout drops into his drink, there was a big fight. And Gus killed him.
That's a lot of...
Hey, wait a minute. Now I know where I've seen you. It was in the hotel last night. I bumped into you when I was coming up the stairs.
You're crazy.
You were coming down from the second floor, probably from the room where Gus had just killed the old man.
How you going to prove that?
There was a hotel clerk with me. He'll remember you, too.
Suppose I was at the hotel. That don't mean I was in on any killing.
It's no use, Millie. We know you and Gus always work together. And we know Gus was in that hotel room.
How do you know?
From his fingerprints.
That ain't true. Gus wiped...
You were going to say Gus wiped off all the fingerprints. He did, Millie. All but one. He found it on the water faucet in the bathroom.
You mean you picked me up because Gus left his prints in that room?
Uh-huh.
That bonehead. If he'd had some sense, you'd never have got me.
That's what you said last time you got caught. Doesn't work that way, Millie.
Last time was his fault, too. He hadn't made me stop in that cafe for a beer. You'd never have found us. And he calls me stupid.
Where's Gus
Every
now?
time I get caught, it's on account of him. He's always playing it's a smart. He's got the brains, he says. I got the looks. Him and his brains.
Where is he?
Now he want me to sit still and take the rap for him. Well, I ain't gonna do it. If I get caught, he goes up along with me.
Is he in Houston?
No. You want to find that bum Gus, you got to get to Dallas.
Where?
Airport. He drove the car up this morning. I was going to take a plane up and meet him.
When?
At 9 tomorrow morning. We was going to take the 10 o'clock plane for L.A. Oh, that knucklehead.
All right, Sheriff. Lock Millie up, and we'll go get Gus.
I can hardly wait to see the look on his face when he gets brought in here. I can hardly wait.
I called headquarters and requested the Ranger plane to pick us up in Jackson. We flew to Dallas and spent the night checking hotels and restaurants in the hope of picking Gus up. We didn't find him. We decided he had either spent the night with friends or in his car. A little after 9 the next morning, we walked through the air terminal.
I sure hope that girl wasn't lying to us, Jace.
I reckon she was a little too sore at Gus to lie.
Well, all the same, I'd hate to think of him slipping through our fingers.
I don't see him inside here. He could be out at the gate. See him anywhere?
Nope. Jace, over there by gate 2.
Uh-huh.
He sure looks impatient, pacing back and forth.
We work over to him as quietly as we can. If he...
Yeah, he sees us, Jace. He's starting to run. Hold it, Gus. Hold it.
Around the building. Come on. Easy past this corner.
Hell, I don't see him anywhere, Jace.
There he goes, out toward the front of the terminal.
He's heading for that taxi.
I think we can get him.
Grab him!
Get out of there, Gus.
No good, cops.
Give me that gun. Give it to me.
I'll kill it.
Drop it. Drop it.
Thanks for getting it back, Jace. I never should let him get it in the first place.
Who told you I was going to be here, Millie?
Put out your hands, Gus.
That dizzy dame. Every time I get caught, it's on account of her.
Funny. She thinks the same thing about you.
Hadn't been for her being so clumsy with those knockout drops, I wouldn't have been caught. Never should have taken that dizzy dame for a partner in the first place.
Don't worry about it, Gus. I've got an idea the judge is going to dissolve that partnership of yours anyhow. For good.
In just a moment, we will tell you the results of the case you have just heard.
An important part of our job here at NBC is to inform and bring news to our millions of radio listeners. We do this by offering you news and commentary programs throughout every broadcast day. And now, we invite you to listen more than ever to the special programs we are preparing to send your way over NBC. We invite you to follow the campaign of the next president on NBC. Here, for example, are some of the programs you will soon be hearing. On Saturday, June 28th, NBC will present a convention preview. George Hicks will serve as your narrator on this program, and he will interview Republican delegates from various sections of the country. Then on Tuesday, July 1st, we present Convention City, direct from Chicago, with Jim Hurlbut interviewing all the many people responsible for feeding and lodging the thousands of delegates to the conventions who will converge on Chicago in July. Consult your local newspaper for broadcast time, and join us here on NBC for a complete report on the conventions. And now back to Tales of the Texas Rangers.
And now, here are the results of the case you have just heard.
Millie Vinson and Gus Howard were tried and convicted for the murder of George Wilton. Millie Vinson received a 45-year sentence in the women's prison at Goree. Gus Howard was sentenced to Huntsville Penitentiary for the rest of his life.
Next week, Joel McCrea in another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Joel McCrea is currently seen starring in San Francisco Story, a Warner Brothers release. The cast included Tony Barrett, Parley Bear, Virginia Gregg, Gerald Moore, Herb Ellis, and Jeanette Nolan. Technical advisor was Captain M.T. Lone Wolf Gonzalez of the Texas Rangers. This story was transcribed and adapted by Charles E. Israel, and the program was produced and directed by Stacy Keach. Hal Gibney speaking.
73 years ago, June 22nd, 1952, Tales of the Texas Rangers, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Up next, Peg Lynch, Alan Muntz, and The Couple Next Door.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Pat Boone. In case of enemy attack, you must know your warning signals. A steady blast of 3 to 5 minutes means tune your radio dial to 640 or 1240. A 3-minute wavering tone or a series of short blasts, take cover immediately.
Back in the days before cell phones, that was the only way we got the alerts. It really was. All right, Peg Lynch, Alan Muntz up next. June 22nd, 1960, 65 years ago, The Couple Next Door.
CBS Radio brings you The Couple Next Door, written by Peg Lynch and starring Peg Lynch and Alan Bunce.
For goodness sakes, did you go back to sleep again? Wake up, dear.
No, I'm not asleep.
You better get up. You'll be late to work. And listen, be sure and weigh yourself and mark it down on the chart in the bathroom now.
What?
I made the chart we talked about. Put it in the bathroom with a pencil right there. So after you weigh yourself, mark it down. That way we can keep track, you know.
Keep track of what?
Now, don't start that, dear. You know perfectly well what...
Well, of course, this morning I am absolutely famished. Look, why don't we start our diet tomorrow, huh?
Now, look here.
Well, I was just lying here thinking about how I'd like some nice hot wheat cake swimming in maple syrup.
Haven't you any willpower at all? I mean, we haven't even started our diet. Here you are weakening already.
No, darling, I'm just teasing, really. Now, I wanted to hear what you'd say. Of course, we're going to diet. Wasn't I the one who suggested it?
Yes, but I do think we should weigh ourselves each day without fail, and we shouldn't lose over a pound a week. That's the sensible thing. Get up now. Our 300-calorie breakfast will be ready in 20 minutes. Where's the butter? What do you mean, where's the butter?
I mean, where's the butter and the cream for my coffee?
Now, look, if we're going to start our diet, dear, either we start cutting down, you know, on the things that put on weight.
Cutting down is one thing. That doesn't mean cutting out everything, for Pete's sake.
We decided last night here, we wrote it down exactly what we'd have for breakfast. Orange juice, 1 soft-boiled egg, 1 slice of toast, and coffee.
All right, we didn't write down anything about no butter and no cream. I mean, I cannot eat a soft-boiled egg with a piece of dry toast. You know perfectly well I can't drink black coffee.
Put some milk in it.
What's in?
A tablespoon of milk would only be about 10 calories, whereas all the heavy cream you use is about 50 calories right there. To say nothing of 2 teaspoons of sugar, which runs you about 50 calories also. Now, wouldn't you rather save that 100 calories and tack it onto your dinner allotment? I mean, say a little dessert. You could have 1/3 of a cup of tapioca pudding for 100 calories.
I'm sick of this diet already.
Oh.
But I'll stick to it.
And remember now, when you meet your men friends for lunch, no cheating now. Just fruit salad and Melba toast.
Yeah.
So while he was talking, the psychiatrist fell asleep.
Now, come on.
Never
Well, Fred, finish your story later, will you? The girl's waiting.
Oh.
Well, what are you going to have for lunch? Come on.
I didn't mean to keep a pretty girl waiting. I'm going to have the hot roast turkey sandwich. Only make that French fries instead of mashed potatoes. And mixed green salad with French dressing and coffee, apple pie.
I'll have the fried shrimp, Mabel, with plenty of tartar sauce. And bring me some of that clam chowder first. And Lioness potatoes, green beans, coffee. Oh, and the Boston cream pie.
I'll have the fresh fruit salad, plain, no dressing, coffee.
Fruit salad?
Yeah. And maybe a couple of pieces of Melba toast. No dessert. Thank you, Mabel. Okay, go on with your story, Fred. You were saying...
What's the matter with you, pal? You sick or something?
Yeah, what's all this fruit salad and Melba toast business? You got an ulcer or something?
Nope. Just cutting down.
Doctor's orders?
No. Just watching the old waistline, that's all. Discovered I'd put on a few pounds. Thought I'd better take them off. The older you get, the harder it is to take off weight.
Oh, boy, don't talk to me about weight.
Yeah, I think I've put on a pound or two. I haven't weighed myself for months. Our bathroom scales went on the blink.
I weigh more than I should, I know that. But it's my wife's fault. Katie's always saying to me, look at you, you're getting like a barrel. I say to her, well, whose fault is it? Yours. She's the one who bakes the pies and cakes and cookies. If I do decide to cut out those things, she says, what's the matter? Don't you like my cooking?
You can't blame Katie, Harry. No, let's face it. If you let yourself get fat, it's your own fault.
Who's fat? I may have a pound or two I don't need, but I'm big bone. That's where most of my weight is. Big bone people always weigh more.
No, I know. I didn't say you were fat, Harry. All I said was it's our own fault if we put on weight. That's what I meant. I'll tell you something. We all eat too much anyhow. We don't need that much. Certainly not all that pastry and desserts and stuff. I'll tell you something else. You'll feel better if you don't stuff yourself.
When'd you start your diet?
This morning. I had half of what I generally eat for breakfast. You know what? I feel better already. You know, you guys would feel a lot better, too, if you just had a fruit salad instead of those greasy French fried potatoes and those slabs of apple pie.
Yeah. Why is it that people who go on a diet always want to drag everybody else along with them, huh?
What's the matter? Haven't you guys got any willpower at all?
Plenty. I can resist you and your dieting. It's not going to bother me at all just to sit here and eat my fried shrimp while you nibble on your Melba toast. Hey, I'll tell you what. If you can be talked into your favorite dessert, a nice, fluffy, juicy strawberry cheesecake, I'll pay for it, and I'll give you $1 to boot.
Harry, he can resist $1. Let's up it to $5.
All right.
Just think, pal. All you have to do is eat a piece of strawberry cheesecake, and Harry and I will pay you $5 just for eating it.
Yeah. Cut it out, will you? Look, you're not going to wear me down anyhow. You're not. But sitting here at the table with you two chubby butterballs is a man of real willpower.
All right, I tell you what, we'll just order the cheesecake and set it on the table where you can get a good look at it.
Go ahead. Won't bother me a bit, boys. I'll just sit here eating my fruit salad and watching you two put on double chins. Apple pie, 350 calories. And that tartar sauce, that must be around 500 calories.
Oh, come on.
It is the way you pile it on, Harry. In fact, I just happened to bring my little calorie book with me, boys, so I'll tell you exactly to the 1,000 just how many calories you're eating.
Calorie book.
Calorie book. Yeah, here we are. Here. Clam chowder, and you're having the cream kind.
Let me tell you something, pal. That's hardly the way to make friends and influence people.
Oh, leave him alone, Fred. Let him have fun. It's all talk. You're looking at a man here who's going to wind up having a delicious strawberry cheesecake.
Really? Well, all I can say is I'm proud of you. It makes me kind of mad that Harry and Fred tempted you.
No,
It's
they
just
didn't.
like
They
Harry.
didn't, honey. Well, what I mean is I wasn't really tempted. Honest, I've made up my mind to diet, and I'm going to diet. And you know what? I feel better already.
I do. I do, too, honey. I really do. I made myself a fruit salad this noon, and I thought, now, isn't this better than fixing cream peas on toast, you know?
Sure, I felt like $1 million at the office all day. By golly, I could see the difference. I wasn't sleepy from a heavy lunch.
I know.
You know, I don't think I'm going to mind this dieting business at all. I don't.
Of course, remember, dear, now, this is just the first day.
Well, look, today has proved that I can pass the test. I mean, if I can sit there and watch my friends stuff themselves with everything that I love to eat while I sit like a rabbit with my lettuce and raw carrots and not mine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, half the battle is won.
Oh, good.
I mean, I may lose my friends, but I'm certainly going to lose weight along with them.
Well, I just hope we stick to it. For example, we planned hamburgers for tonight, and when I looked them up, one small patty, 2.5 inches in diameter, is 100 calories. Now, according to our calorie limit, we can only have 2.
2? You 2.5 inches in diameter? You mean 2 little dinky...
100 calories. Now, if you have another, then you have to cut out the vegetables, and you need those too, dear. We have to have a balanced diet, you know.
2 little dinky for dinner, for Pete's sakes? I'm hungry. Thought for dinner, at least I could have...
Now, look, they say your appetite adjusts after a while, and then you're not hungry, so you won't need to worry.
Boy, mine better hurry up and adjust it. All right.
Now, also, if you eliminate chili sauce on your hamburger, that's 50 calories, and then you can have skim milk on your tapioca pudding.
Oh, all right.
The Couple Next Door stars Peg Lynch and Alan Bunce with George Petrie and Joe Silver and is produced by Walter Hart and directed by Dick Stenta. This is Stuart Metz speaking.
65 years ago, The Couple Next Door here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Join us tomorrow for Lights Out, Boston Blackie, the summer series, long before it was done in syndication. No. This one starring Chester Morris, the screen star who played Blackie in the movies. Also, Jack Webb, Pier 23, Johnny Madero, Pier 23, and Escape from 1950 and Lum and Abner. See you on Monday for more Classic Radio Theater I'm Wyatt Cox.
Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.